Hi, this is Anna Imagination with a Healing Garden. I am excited about this. I am just like, woohoo! All right, just let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and get myself established. Okay, so here's what's going on. I am in the process of breaking down. Oh my God, what am I breaking down? I'm okay. I'm in the process of a research project that I'm doing where I've been asking people a few questions. The first question I ask is, do you feel like your education prepared you adequately for life? 100% of the answer I got was no. 100%. No. I did get a few no, so I supplemented. All right. So we have no, I did not. Then we have no, but I supplemented. And then there's, I haven't gotten any yeses. I got no supplemented and no's. Those are what I've gotten. And it doesn't matter gender, doesn't matter race, doesn't matter region. Absolutely doesn't matter. There's like, I have yet to find a consistency of generation, age, race, nothing across the board. On this, we're all the same. So I spoke to people who've been in parochial schools, private schools, traditional educational schools, absolutely 100% across the board. None of them have been able to come back and say, yes, I was adequately prepared for life, which then leads me to the next question. And please, 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 DM me on LinkedIn or Facebook. Let me know how you fit into this category, what you experienced, because this is it right here. This is where it's the juice. So the next question I ask people is, what obstacles in life did you face? The next question that I ask you is also, let me think about this. The other question I ask is, what did you wish you had been prepared for? So when I get to that question, I'm getting the exact same answer every single time. The answer is problem solving and a variation of that, every single one of them. So I have, what my subject is cultivation. It's literally called human cultivation. Cultivation, if you think about gardening terms, a cultivator. This is human propagation. Human propagation is a lost science. And 100% of all my work revolves around it. It does not exist in our culture, which is the problem. Human propagation is part of ethics. It is part of parenting. It's part of education. Are we seeing a pattern? It is part of economy. It is business building and finance and money. It is literally the life of a human being. And when you look at, it's the full stages, it's the life cycle of the human being. So the life cycle is called propagation. Now, usually this is something that you see exclusively in plants. This is what you see in biology, but we actually don't have anything that focuses on human propagation, which is weird because we're people. So life cycle, the human life cycle, is 100% from literally birth to death. It's more than just the stage. It is prosperity. It is your happiness. It is your success. It is your wealth and your health. It is all of these things. Now, these things are all broken down into categories and roles that we all place in society. So what I really do for a living is I am a societal solutionist. A societal solutionist is somebody who takes all of their knowledge and they determine what the solution is for a society. I am also a business scientist because I noticed something. I noticed that almost every single person, it is the human experience to go, I want to be a business owner when I grow up. Very, very few people actually don't want to be a business owner. At some point, most people have a moment where they say, I want to be a business owner. It doesn't matter if you are wanting to do your own home projects and then sell from that. It doesn't matter if you're talking about freelancing. It does not matter if you are talking about doing art or, one moment here, I got to untangle my wires because I have a very unusual OCD. I mean, obsessively so. I cannot handle wires that are disorganized. It's a problem I have. And as a result, these are people who 100% don't want that 9 to 5. And in fact, when you hit that fifth ethical perspective, this is really the science behind it. This is what it is. When you get to the fifth ethical perspective, you learn about the ethic self-government. And suddenly the idea of somebody telling you what to do is not okay. So if you evolve to the fifth ethical perspective, you are done having someone tell you what to do. Not going to happen. So even being a manager with a boss over you is detestable for that fifth ethical perspective. So if you follow the ethical progression of the human being's development, if you get to that fifth ethical perspective, you are going to walk into a lifestyle and a mindset where you are not going to want people telling you what to do. You're just not going to be okay with it. So immediately you are going to find a way to be a business owner. Every person, the human experience is, I got to be a business owner because I can't handle not being my own boss, because it is the fifth ethic of I self-govern now. Thank you very much. No one tells me what to do. Welcome to being a human being. So what we are looking at doing is something strategic. I was analyzing the overall problem with the world. And in order to decide any problem, you have to first break down the order of operations. You have to accumulate what are all the components. So you collect all the components. After you get all the components, the next thing you do is you put them in order. That is the order of operations. What you are really doing when you build the order of operations is you are trying to determine exactly what is the catalyst and what is the consequence. Now, every consequence has a catalyst. The question is, what is the first catalyst? So that's really what you want to look for. The catalyst, the true catalyst, is always invisible. This is called chain reaction science, which is actually discussed in problem-solving skills. So once you understand what the invisible catalyst is, that's the thing that tips everything over, that makes everything go a certain way. Which brought me to the question, what is wrong with the world today? Who is responsible? Most importantly, where's that catalyst? So my first thought when I looked around the world today, I saw the mental health crisis and I thought, it's the psychologists. The psychologists are the problem, which is where I spent about a year analyzing psychology. And I went, something's going on here. This isn't the catalyst. This is a symptom. Mental health and psychology is a symptom. And I went, okay, so that's order of operations. So what causes mental health? And that's where everything's been stumped. People are going out, trauma, and there's a whole lot of red herrings. So a lot of people are running around chasing a lot of red herrings, and it's a distraction. And I'm sitting here going, what is the real catalyst? So I accumulated everybody in the world and analyzed them on a societal status. What is going on and what's the common denominator? And I got the common denominator. The common denominator is education. Really smart people who have problem-solving skills don't have problems. Really smart people who have the education actually have something called problem prevention. You know, like fire prevention? People who have fire prevention don't have fires because they have fire prevention. So I'm sitting here going, okay, one, no one is problem solving. Two, no one's even heard of problem prevention. Now, I live and die off of problem prevention, so I have no problems. I know exactly how to overcome problems. It's a skill set. So I broke down problem prevention and I asked the question, why don't we have this being taught? Now, I've been asking these questions since I was like 5. I've been wanting to know, why aren't we taught psychology in school? Why aren't we taught logic? And why aren't we taught philosophy? That was just like dumb common sense. Like, what the hell? So I analyzed it, and I did not have to look far because I've been analyzing the educational nightmare that is since 1990. So this is an old hat for me. Going back into the educational system and redigging out all this material was like, I know exactly where I am. And it was literally picking up 30-year-old research that I started in 1992 and then just, everything's the same, only I had new data. I got to see what happened in the last 20 years. And when I analyzed that data, they had more statistics, they had more research. And sure enough, all the projections that I made in 1992 to 2015, I was able to break down and go, oh, look at that. Everything I said would happen happened. Yep. Okay. We have gotten dumber. We have dropped 20 points in 20 years. Yep. That was predictable. So we are getting dumber. The IQ is no longer 120. It is now 100. So at this rate, in another 20 years, we are all going to be at an 80 IQ level. There you go, 80. So that puts us around Forrest Gump in about 20 years. I'm not waiting that long. Now, this is interesting because I also noticed the economy is in a shithole. Now, this is interesting. I love this part. The economy, I first noticed something was up with the economy back in the year 2001. It was right after 9/11. And I do mean like 2 weeks later, I had this gentleman come in. He was old. That's important. He was old. He came in, they put down $300 on Tommy Hilfiger product. And then he walked out the door with his product. He came back 15 minutes later and said, no, I got to return it all. I said, okay. He goes, I've seen this before. I know it's coming. And I'm like, you've seen this before? You know it's coming? What? I said, what? And he said, we're heading into a recession. And I'm looking at this old man thinking, dude, how long has this been going on that you've seen it before and you know it's coming? Because I know math, which means you got 3 data points that tells you, oh, this is predictable. This is a mathematical equation and I know what's coming. So I'm like, what the fuck has been going on? Now, I love John Steinbeck. I love John Steinbeck. I read The Pearl. I watched Grapes of Wrath. I studied the 1920s, 1930s, and 1940s mindset. I studied the psychology in the 1920s, the 1890s, and the 1950s. I know shit. So I'm sitting here looking at John Steinbeck going, Great Depression, recession, inflation, recession, inflation, recession, inflation, recession, inflation. See, we have a thing for that in math. That's a thing in math. That is what we refer to as a wobbling top that is spinning out of control and it's about to fall over. And in power economics, also in traditional economics, if you have a shrinking middle class, that is because you have a lack of balance between the 3 classes. There isn't something stable happening. And as a result, that middle class shrinks and shrinks. Now, what's really going on when a middle class shrinks is the economy becomes so expensive to live in because the people in charge don't know how to build an economy and stabilize it. So what happens is people jump ship for survival. So imagine you have the ship, the Titanic. And on the ship, the Titanic, I'm going to show you this here in a minute. This is my drawing of the Titanic. That's right. That's right. That's the Titanic ship. So you got the Titanic ship, and it's going to go one of 2 ways. You're going to have people who are in the lifeboats, and you're going to have people who are wearing the life preservers. The people are going to have to make a choice. You're either going to have to get real fucking smart, real fucking fast, and become really rich real fast, or you are going to end up in the water wearing a life preserver in the ice cold water. And that is where impoverishment, squalor happens. So you end up with a whole lot of people in the water impoverished, or you end up with a massive amount of wealthy people. And that's what we're seeing. We have the super rich and we have the super poor. So it's about 20 years before this is going to go down. So you have the super poor and you have the super rich. Now you have the middle class and it's sinking fucking fast. We know this. Everyone in the middle class is going, oh my God, the Titanic's sinking, it's going down. We got to get real rich real fast. So you have a lot of people who are trying to crack the code on business sales because they got to get rich real fast because the system is going down. So everyone's jumping ship. And the ones who have not figured this out are the poor who are getting poorer. And the middle class are actually merging into the significantly squalid, impoverished people because they lack problem-solving skills. So one of the first things I noticed when I looked at this all of it, the big picture here, was why aren't the poor people getting their asses over to the ships? That was the first question I asked, is why aren't the poor people doing what the rich people are doing? That's the first question. The second question I asked is, why is the economy toggling out of order? Why is that falling all over the place? Well, that's easy. That's because it's unbalanced. And in mathematics, in physics, and in logic, we know that if you want something balanced, you need 3 points. So that's easy to figure out. That's basic math. So I'm going, all right, so they're missing a massive part of their economy. Now, there are 2 parts to an economy. There's this part, and then there's this part. I have it down somewhere where I broke it all down to show all the different parts. And when I did that, I went, oh, we are missing one of the legs. So you have this part's all secure, but this part is not. It's only got 2 legs, which is why it's toggling. So to fix that, instead of fixing the problem here, which is the third part, because they don't know a damn thing about economics, but they're teaching it, instead, they are just doing the recession, inflation. So taking off of that dude from like 20 years ago when he said, I know what's coming, I tracked this pattern of the economy, and I found out that they have been doing this since the Great Depression. Since 1929, the government has been doing this. And I'm going, what the fuck? And they've been doing this literally back and forth until now that middle class is thinning, and now it's coming down. So we've got about 20 years before the economy crashes. We know this. So you got to get rich or you're going to go down, or we got to fix the economy. So I'm asking the questions, why aren't we fixing the economy? So this was not hard for me. This was an easy solution for me because I asked the question, how do you get rich? Now, Tony Robbins is the one who answered this question for me. I was watching one of his videos. This is about 2 years ago. And he told the story about how he wanted to get rich. And he started to pursue the wealthy life. And his mother stepped in and said, that's unethical. She stepped in and she started to give him financial advice. And Tony Robbins said this to his mother. Mother, I love you, but you are a poor woman. You don't know anything about being rich. You cannot tell me how to be rich because you've been poor your whole life. I love you, but you cannot tell me how to be rich because you don't know what that is. If you did, you would be rich. And I went, that's logical. Now, this is a trade secret, which it really should not be a trade secret, but every rich person figured this out, that if you want to know how to be rich, you got to find a rich mentor. Well, that was not rocket science. I started looking around for my mentors. So I went on, I know how to do research. So I went on a massive, all right, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and I'm going to sit there and literally just interview everyone wealthy. I'm going to interview everyone. So I came up with this box. This is called a T-graph. A T-graph is when you put grouping together. So you have happy, rich, happy, poor, unhappy, rich, unhappy, poor. And then I analyzed the common denominator of all of them and figured out what made the happy people happy and the rich people rich. And then I put the two of them together to get the answer. So here's what the answer is. Ethics, and the ethical rich people had so much of their ethics figured out that they knew that there was nothing unethical about money. This was it. It was just the ethics. And I went, interesting. So ethics is the key to happiness. And that, oh, fuck yeah, that's definitely the key to happiness. Oh, yes, it is. Ethics is the key to happiness. So I went, all right, so you got the 12 ethics. I got those taken care of. Thank you, Plato. And now I'm looking at this going, all right, I got the ethics taken care of. Now how do you get rich? So I knew not to go to an economics class. I studied finance. And all I got from finance, and I went right to the top. I immediately went to all of Warren Buffett's material. And Warren Buffett was great for this is how you invest. Great. How do you get the money to invest? He didn't cover that. And I was like, all right, so Warren Buffett definitely has his shit together. That man knows investment and finance and trade. So I started to study all of his stuff, but he assumed you had the money to begin with. So I'm going, how do you get rich? How do you get money? That drew me to a whole lot of people. I literally interviewed over 200 rich people. I networked my way up to the Billionaires Club. I interviewed everybody. And I got two answers. Born into it, or I don't know, I followed my intuition. You'll have to figure it out. You're a bunch of tradesmen. You're a bunch of apprentices. You got lucky. You followed your instinct and you actually can't reverse engineer. You don't know. If you lost your wealth today, you wouldn't be able to figure it out. I know because in 2015, I did the same thing. I followed my intuition. I got real lucky. I had a business where I was selling stuff out the door before I even had a brand built because my product was that fucking good. And I went, oh, I had the same problem and I couldn't recreate it. And I'm like, shit. Now I need the formula. So I started asking around. No one had the formula. Now, what I did have was 20 years study of just business, how to run business, every single operations. And this is what I noticed. 100% of all the information that I got was purely dirty and unethical. So I had dirty, I had unethical, and then I had absolutely no idea how they did it, and I had dirt poor. So those were my resources. 100% of all the data and research I pulled was from somebody who was dirt poor and didn't know. And ironically, they were the people who studied traditional economics. And I'm going, interesting. You have a degree in economics and you're dirt poor. How does that even work? So I then looked at the dirty sales. I studied the psychology of dirty sales, and it is literally criminal. I will not touch it. And then I looked at unethical. And when I looked at unethical, I went, absolutely not. That's not a path for me. And then I had the people going, I have no idea what I did. And I'm like, all right, so I'm on my own here. Got it. So I continued to do the research and I dug it down and I tried to figure out exactly what's going on. And I piecemealed together every single part of it until I found the ethical way that used the science, the physics, the math to back it up to explain how it was all done. I reverse engineered it. It was 100% ethical, and it took me to this particular point. I still did not know how to go from absolutely nothing to something. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. When I found Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he had the rest of it. And I went, there it is. I knew it. I knew it. Now, I had all the psychology study at that point, so I was good. And I had this man. I'm like, yes. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad is 100% solid, accurate. But he kept saying again, these are the steps I took, but I have no idea the psychology. But I had the psychology. So I was able to take his steps and I was immediately able to just plug in the psychology because I had that. So I have Warren Buffett. I have Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And now I'm sitting here asking the question, all right, now what's the order of operations of sales? Marketing, networking. So I have the how to put the business owner together. That's easy peasy. That I got because that's all psychology. That stuff is old hat for me. So the next thing is, how do you build a business? Now that I finally had all together. Now I was looking at the community and the network. These are the three pillars of business, by the way, is business ownership, the business itself, and the network. Those are the three pieces you need. So I was looking at the human circuitry of networking, trying to figure out how do you go to actually make money. Now, Rich Dad, Poor Dad was phenomenal on this, and I absolutely recommend his material. However, he did not break down the actual process. Today, I got the key, literally the key, and I went, I got it. It's the key. It's calendar. You got to build your calendar. And I found the ethical formula. I worked on it this morning, and I went, oh, there you go. That's it. So you just need to fill your calendar. That's it. That's your focal point. That is your 100% focal point. You don't have to have anything. You just fill your calendar. You fill your calendar and you do it ethically. So you need an ethical calendar. That is what you need, an ethical calendar. So those are my two words. And I'm like, well, there's the focus. As soon as I got that, I plugged it in, it all flipped on. So now I'm sitting here looking at it going, all right, so I got economics figured out. I've got business building figured out. I've got it all figured out. Now, where is the invisible catalyst? What is going on with our society? And this is what I realized. Our educational department, I missed a part of my story. So when I was all done and said, I want to go check out the educational department's economy system. I want to know what they're teaching because I want to know what's going on. So I studied traditional economics and I went, you dirty fucking bastards. The educational system uses scarcity mindset in psychology to teach economics. 100% of traditional economics is scarcity mindset. The wording, the logic, the language, the linguistics. It is also incorporated with the criminal language. It's literally invented from the criminal language. So you are embedding scarcity mindset with criminal language, and there is our economics educational system, which is why it's falling down. And I'm going, psychologists who don't know psychology because they're studying Freud's shit, economists who are teaching people about money and finance and stable economy off of scarcity mindset and criminal language. Who's teaching the teachers? So I sat down and I looked at who's teaching the teachers. Now, I did not have to look hard for this because I have been studying this since 1992. I know who teaches teachers. The government teaches teachers. There is actually no teaching going on. The government sits down and decides who should learn what without any actual education themselves. The educational system is the invisible catalyst. So I went, all right, so all I have to do is provide them with quality, clean education. And I know how to do that because my stuff all comes from Plato in the ancient Greek educational system, which is very different from the traditional stuff. So we have quality education now. And this is the lost science of human propagation. So I know the 5 sciences that are part of this. The first one is ethics. The next one is business building, which I now have 100% of that all ready to go. And I have a class coming up. I do each master classes on that. The next one is Pythagorean psychology, which is a 2,000-year-old psychology study. And then we have power economics, human circuitry, and the emotional transaction of human connection. And I'm looking at this going, all right. Now, when you put these things all together, what you end up with is parenting, education, mental health, business building, and ethics. Isn't that interesting? You know what our society's biggest problems are? Parenting, education, mental health, business building, and ethics. Well, isn't that interesting? So if you study the lost science of comprehension and human propagation, that literally solves all of the problems, which then presented me with my next question. All right, then. So I have to teach human propagation to parents, educators, mental health people, business. Well, I'm just going to call those healers, and then economists and business people. That's it. Now, the ethics get plugged into all of this. No problem at all. Now, I know that parenting and education is actually a DIY process. Parents need to actually become very passive. This is going to be really tricky to say. They are more like an NPC player with a guide and a directory. That's really what it is. Passive NPC player. That's really what they need to be, is an NPC player. They are more of a referee. That's what they are. They are a referee. That is a great word for them. Let's look up the etymology of a referee. Yes, let's do that. That makes me very, very happy. A referee. An official who watches a game or match closely to ensure that the rules are adhered to and to attribute on matters arising from the play. All right, so we're going to amend this a little bit. They watch the game closely to ensure the preservation of ethical journey. So it's the preservation of, and we're going to talk about that life journey, because this is what's going on. There is the life journey. The life journey is actually the learning journey. The learning journey is the journey that every person has to undertake to determine who they are, what they are, where they come from, where they're going, and what they want. You don't do this journey and you don't know who you are, where you're going, what you want, and where you're from. You are dead in the water. The learning journey is the learning journey of the self. That's it. It's the learning journey of the self. When you study anything, it is 100% the learning of the self. So if you are learning and it's not about you, oh, the mental damage that results in. I can't explain it. I will explain it to you. When you have a learning journey that is not focused on you, what you've done is literally misplaced your identity with something else. You have literally shifted your authority over to another subject and prioritized that in its place. So your entire lesson of the self becomes I am X. I am X. Now, if you're focused on defining the self, you're going to solve for X as in I am X. But if you replace it with I am learning this to make money, your identity is going to become I am whatever I do to make money. And that becomes your new identity. Change it with, well, you got to go to school so you can get a better job. Well, that became your identity. Whatever X is that is plugged into why you are learning, the why you are learning becomes your identity. In addition to that, when you have someone who comes in and tells you what to learn instead, now you have your identity that is all about what some other one told you to do. And that becomes the hyper focus of your life. My identity is someone always telling me what to do. And that explains our culture. So what we are supposed to be doing, what Plato knew about and what Plato did, was the learning journey of the self was 100% your self-definition. That's why you learn. You learn to define the self. As you learn to define yourself, you immediately know where you're going in life, who you are, and what you are getting. It is all about your learning journey. Now, you don't figure out first, this is who I am, so this is going to be my learning journey. The learning journey is the discovery of the self, and that is vital. The learning journey is the discovery of the self. And when you understand that the learning journey is the discovery of the self, suddenly it's a huge step back, and let's look at our educational system. What are you learning and why are you learning it? And if you don't know what you are learning, and if you don't know why you are learning it, you are going to end up in a position where your learning journey is not at all defining you, which means by the time your learning journey is done, you don't know who you are. Oh, look at that. Those are most of our 20-year-olds. Let's all of our 20-year-olds going, I don't know who I am. What do you want it to be when you grow up? I don't know. It's because you just got done with your learning journey and you don't know who you are because you did not do your learning journey. You did your parents' learning journey, or you did the US government's learning journey. That's what you did. You did not do your learning journey. You were supposed to discover the self. Your learning was all about you figuring out yourself. That's what you were supposed to be doing. This is how you are supposed to be figuring out yourself. You are supposed to be coming to an obstacle. You are supposed to be pursuing a dream of your choice. And then you are supposed to overcome the obstacle. And that 3-part process, you pursuing your dream, you arriving at an obstacle, you overcoming that obstacle, equals your defined self. So in order to go through those 3 processes, you have to learn and go on a journey. That is the learning journey, which is called also a pilgrimage. Now, in the Greek educational system, we know this. So when you're 5, they start you on the learning journey and you're done by 15. 10 years. 10 years. So by the time you're 15, you know who you are, you know where you're going, you know what you want, and you do it, which is what I did. It's 10 years. It's a 10-year education to do all of it, to go on your full learning journey. 10 fucking years. 5 to 15. By the time you're 15, you're done. You have your learning journey. You know who you are. You know what you want, and you are good to go. You are the defined self by the time you are 15 years old. Now, between 15 and 25, you are cultivating your business. So by the time you're 25, you have an established solid business. This is the way society is supposed to be run. Now, in order to pull this off, you need cultivators. A cultivator is a teacher who knows about this. I am the only one in the world who knows about this. Therefore, I am the only current cultivator teacher. You need parents who know about this. So I'm looking for rogue parents and pirate parents who are looking for a better way to do this. And then there are healers. Now, healers are the people who are correcting people and getting them on this learning journey. Now, here's the problem. Rule number 1 of the learning journey is, what did I say about the referee? You have to be a non-player character, which means if you want to do the learning journey right, DIY. There should be no healers in the world. There should be no healers. None. Because it has to be DIY. Because of the way authority works, power, control, and self-authority. And the self-authority is what was taken away from you when someone came along and said, you can't have your learning journey. You lost your self-authority. So to take back your self-authority, you have to DIY your learning journey. Now, a healer would be somebody who guides you as an NPC and gives you the resources, the training, and the tools to get it done with the agenda. All right, welcome to the bottom of Mount Everest. Our mission is to prepare you for climbing Mount Everest because you are going to be climbing Mount Everest alone. So the healers really should be just preparing you for the ascent of Everest. That is what a healer should be doing. A parent should be basically playing defense to make sure no one interferes with your healing journey. And they are literally on the sidelines, making sure you're making the ascent without any interference. So they're just walking around doing this, blocking you, making sure no one interferes with your healing journey. And then teachers actually don't exist. Mother Nature is the teacher. Teachers don't exist. What you have is teachers don't exist. If the parent plays the right defense, healers aren't needed and teachers aren't needed. Mother Nature takes care of everything. Parent plays the defense. That's how a society is supposed to go. So eventually, the healers have returned them back to their learning journey. They have set you on the course, and they have basically made sure nothing interferes with the journey. And that's it. They actually need to be teaching you how to make sure no one interferes with your journey. That is what you should be learning. You should be learning the skills to preserve your own journey. We're going to call this the preservation journey. Preserve your own journey. This is a skill. You have to manage your own journey. Healers need to be the people teaching you this. Teachers need to be the NPCs who give you tasks. Oh, you're frustrated? Here's a task. I'm going to give you a quest. Go talk to the next person in line. You ask a question back. The child makes a statement, you say nothing. That's it. That's it. Business owners need to be building up their businesses ethically as a win-win-win, because your job in a culture is to make sure that people have the resources they need to propagate and flourish successfully. So the businesses need to be ethical businesses that practice win-win-win. Win for you, win for me, and win for our patrons. And that is the mindset. Is 100% how are we going to come together as a community? A business is really a community. That is really what businesses are. Businesses are your community. So you have logic health, you have story health, and you have community health. And your businesses are your community health. That's why we had a forum and market in Rome. They were the community health. They were making sure that the people were nurtured at the foundation to make sure the people flourished. The cultivars were the referees, making sure that people were getting from point A over to point B properly to remain and preserve the balance of the community. That was their purpose. Parents were making sure that the journey was going along properly to make sure that there was no interference with that journey, so that the child could then go on at age 15 and be part of the business and community. So the agenda should be get my ass over to the business and the community aspect my way, doing what I want to do, because this is all about me. And you are absolutely right. It is. You need self-authority for that. And that's what I do. So this is cultivation. This is the big picture of really how it's supposed to run and operate. So either you are in a position where you are absolutely stuck as a foundational. You need a cultivator to get you on the right path. You are trying to become business community oriented. You're going to need the education that is ethical and that is absolutely fully minded on the cultivator aspect to make sure you get there. Now, you don't have parents who are healthy, so you're also going to need abuse-proof you, which is one of the courses I teach. And you're also going to need something to put you back on track. So now I'm going, all right, I know what I need to teach. I need to teach human cultivation. I need to make sure that I got all the pieces in place because I'm the only fucking teacher here. And let's put this all together. What do people need? People need problem solving. People need problem prevention. So we're just going to call that class problem prevention. Abuse-proof you, and we're going to start right off with the narcissist program, and problem prevention. And then we need absolutely build a business. Build a business is vital to this. Now, I'm not going to be handling the healing aspect of it because that's not the kind of stuff I enjoy. So I have the Healing Garden franchise. So if you want to be a healer, as in if you want to be somebody who works with them at the foot of Everest to prepare them for their journey, that's where the franchise comes in. And we give you Pythagorean psychology for that, not that Freud shit. So the franchises get Pythagorean psychology with the prosthetic subconscious mind, with the AIDNS, which is the user manual for the subconscious mind, is the abstract intradimensional navigational system. It's really cool. And you get the user manual for the subconscious mind. All that goes into the franchise. So the franchise can take care of the healing aspect with the agenda of let's get people back on track so they can absolutely take off where they need to go. In the meantime, the abuse-proof you, problem prevention, making sure that people are prepared for this journey, and then build a business, making sure that the businesses are increasing their ethical model. And basically what we are doing is we are giving the world an option. You can be ethical. Do you remember back in the 80s when you could smoke in the restaurants and you got to choose, do you want to go to the smoking or the non-smoking section? You remember that? I remember that. It was gross. Okay, now, this is the fun part. I want you to imagine that the unethical business model is the smoking section. Yeah, that's right. I'm doing it. And the ethical business model is the non-smoking section. But we've been told all of this time that there is no non-smoking section and everyone's got to sit in the smoking section of the restaurant. That's where we're at. We're all sitting in the smoking section of the Shark Tank. That's it. We're all sitting in the smoking section of the Shark Tank going, there are no other options. And I'm going, want to bet? Being unethical is a choice, and I prove it. So I provide the ethical guppy version. I provide you with the ethical non-smoking guppy option. Because it's optional. I just got somebody today telling me, this is all wrong. This is what I teach. And she went on to this elaborate explanation about how sales is great after I proved that sales literally borrows 100% of its language from criminal law. That was a shark who was unethically in the smoking section, justifying her smoking section. Okay, it's not for everyone. But I want an ethical, non-smoking guppy tank. That's where I do business. So this is literally a whole, I am looking for people who want a win-win-win where I win, you win, and our patrons win. I do business to business. I am looking only for cultivators, people who are looking to nurture the culture because there is no cultivator right now. There are none, which is why everything is a shithole. I am sick and tired of the unethical smoking Shark Tank, and I have a proposition for you. I have the ingredients for the ethical, non-smoking guppy tank. If you want to sit down with me and we will break bread together over virtual coffee, we will discuss a win-win-win that is the ethical, non-smoking version of the guppy tank. If you are interested in this, go ahead to my LinkedIn or my Facebook, DM me, and let's schedule a people conversation so we can discuss trade. Yes, that's right. We're going to discuss trade. This is the best part. For the betterment of mankind. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.